Mopoor family. Well, I see you made it back. Today, we have things missing on the old 66 Coronet wagon. We're Hemi swapping. We got a 5.7 Hemi, neg 1. We're getting down to it, man. We're going to be driving this thing hopefully pretty soon. Well, as you can see, we got some axles to put in. We have a lead brake system to put on. We went with 4-wheel disc brakes all the way around. I wasn't going to waste any more money on any more of these drum brake kits. So let's get this sucker to stop. We did not go drilled and slotted. We just went with standard disc brakes. We have 15-inch wheels, so none of that should be an issue. Yeah, let's get into it. All right, first things first. We got I got some grease on the bearings on the axle. I stick with tapered bearings. I like those. But the kit, you have to knock out these 4 studs that are on the flange, and then I don't know if you guys can see it. Let me turn it right there. I had to grind those down because these holes are super close to the actual tube of the axle here. It's a little bit, I don't know, a little bit disappointed with that in the kit. I mean, you pay pretty darn good money for this, but anyway, you take out the studs and then they send you hardened bolts. You take that. They don't say anything about grinding those down, but there's no way you could possibly do it without it. So, yeah, is what it is, I guess. So take and grind those down, and then you're going to take these spacer plates that they have. It's kind of a, I don't know if there's a right way or a wrong way to put that on, but there's a flatter side and then a almost chamfered side. I'm going to put the chamfered side towards the axle. Towards the actual shaft itself, you know, the outside. I guess towards the outside is where I put the kind of chamfered edge. Yeah, anyway, those studs had to be longer. That's the reason you knock those out, because that's where that bracket and everything's going to go that holds the caliper on itself. So, all right, we got that on there. Now we can take our freshly cleaned up and greased axle, put that on there. Once I get that on there, I have to back that adjuster spacer off there. I don't want to smash those axles together too tight, trying to tighten those up right away. So I got to make sure that I back that off, especially it's a different carrier. We put the 323s and everything in here. It's a different carrier than what was in here, so we don't know exactly how tight it'll be. I guess what I'm saying. Better safe than sorry. Start from scratch. Okay. We got a new axle seal put in there. Try not to rest all that weight on there. Hitting the hole. There we go. Throw those plates. Get all those bolts and studs started. Come on now. And give that a little love tap. You don't want to hit that bearing retainer plate with any force or anything. I'm just very seriously just giving it a love tap. So. Okay, get some nuts. I'm just gonna run that in a little bit, seat that bearing retainer plate against that good before we put the bracket on for the caliper and stuff. Like I said, I have to back that bearing retainer off also. before I get it pressed too hard. I don't want to wreck that bearing. When I go to actually tighten these down, I'll use the hole that's in the axle here, line it up. And I'm just trying to slowly draw that in right now. Keep an eye on it. Really disappointed that I had to grind those bolts like that. That's a very chintzy way of doing that. Take nice studs out, but round down grade 8 bolts in there. I don't know. Okay. Okay, you can see it's nice and seated. It's yeah, I'm gonna back that off. Oh, I still got plenty axle plate, but I'm gonna back off that adjuster just in case when I put the other axle in, it doesn't tighten it up too much pushing on that center pin. But yeah, I'm gonna do that, and then we'll get onto the brackets. We'll take these nuts back off, get onto the brackets. All right, sorry about that. Nephew just came over. He had a hell of a hockey game yesterday, so we were talking about that. Frickin' good old Deegan. He's that's awesome. He won the MVP of the game yesterday, Deegan did. Hell yeah. Anyway, so this bracket, I suppose I should show you guys what I'm doing. This bracket, this caliper mount bracket here, it's adjustable. So we're gonna put it in these holes here. The other holes, you can either put it 20 degrees down or 20 degrees up, you know, depending on what you have, you know, they say suspension or what you got in the way, but we're gonna put it in standard location, just straight out the back. So we'll put that on there. Already took the nuts off, the 4 nuts after squaring the axle. A little tricky because those bolts, you know, are just floppy-doppy because they don't give you new studs. They just have floppy-doppy bolts in there. That's right. I can beat something to death. That's for sure. Okay, put the nuts back on. They don't give me a torque spec on these ones, so we'll just go tight. They are a serrated flange nut, so. Okay. So over here is cross-threaded. Come on, man. Wow. Buzz these up. Guten Tag. Okay. Take it down. Axle's still loose. That's good. I suppose a guy could actually adjust that axle, but let's go a little bit further. Let's get the bracket and everything mounted on there. Then I'll worry about adjusting and playing the axles. Okay, let me go gather the next parts. I'll be right back with you. Okay. Take your 7/16 bolts. Oh, hey, by the way, I was wrong. They did give a torque spec on these. It was like 35 foot-pounds. I just didn't read it. So, just so y'all know. Oh, guess what? I definitely... Oh, yep. Should have put those through. before I tighten those down. Oh yeah. Yep, note to self, before you put those brackets on and tighten them down, slide the 7/16 bolts in. Yeah, so that's exactly what I was telling you guys before. Make sure when you're installing this, you're really paying attention, putting things together in the proper order. Well, how am I supposed to slide that down around the under? Huh. Yeah, okay. Wow, there's a sequence to that, huh? Yeah, like I was saying, just wanted to make sure that we properly torque those down to 35 foot-pounds, just like the old instructions were telling us to do. So, in doing so, also make sure that you put your 7/16 bolts in before you bolt that bracket down, or you're not going to get them later. Instructions are important. Five foot-pounds. Okay, for the next ones, we're going to set that at 50 foot-pounds. Boom. Yeah. So, now that those 7/16 bolts are installed, let's take and slide our 3/4 inch spacers on that are provided in the kit. This is this bracket, you'll see, it's tapped and threaded on 2 of them and not threaded on the others. Obviously, we want the not threaded. Obviously. I say that. Obviously. Maybe it's not so obvious. Maybe I should quit saying it like that. Anyway. Yep. Those are nylocks, so just screw them on as far as you can, then put a wrench on it. Okay, then we can tighten that down. 50 foot-pounds. I'm going to take and wrap those, and then I'll tighten them with the... I'm going to get a socket on that. Oh, let's probably get the right size wrench. There we go. I wonder if I can get that on the nut side of it. Take that extension off. Again, we're at 50 foot-pounds. Okay. All right. Next, we have to test fit the rotors on there. I did take the rotors, cleaned and painted these the centers, just I don't know, hopefully make it last a little bit longer. Also, on my studs, how do I show this to you guys? My studs have a deeper collar on there. Let me see if I can get you guys up in there. See that? See how that's thicker right there? Well, in order to get that rotor to sit flat on this surface, I had to waller out the holes in the rotor itself. So I don't know if you can see that, but I had to waller these out, you know, every other one, because this is a dual pattern rotor. Oh, jeepers. It's a dual pattern rotor, so you got 4 3/4 on center and 4 1/2 on center. 4 1/2 by 5. That's the Mopoor. That's the one I'm using. So I had to waller these ones out to 5/8 to fit those studs, so that sits nice and flat against there. And now, no need for an eccentric, you know, whatever, filler or whatever in there. It sits nice and flush. I'll show you guys. Get you to balance here. Fits over that big stud nice. You can see
in those other ones. Looks like it sits nice and flush in there now. See how you can look in those holes? See that it's sitting nice and flush now? It's kind of nice that those holes are in there, to tell you the truth, but yeah. So, waller these ones out to 5/8 and good to go. Now, I'll go get the calipers and stuff and we'll get those mounted on there. Okay, just trying to test fit the old caliper on there. Getting her in there, trying to figure out if we need different spacers or whatnot. And it turns out, this is what they mean by suspension hits. So, I have to mount this in the 20-degree down position. So I have to take this back off, take the rotor back off, take those nuts loose again, move that plate down to the 20-degree down mark. So, and then I'll retorque those back to 35 pounds again. And when you see me, this will be going back on there again. All right, while we're redoing stuff here, we're on the driver's side. Figured I'd show you guys axle end play. So the passenger side has the adjuster on it. Driver's side is where I typically take the test, okay? So I'll put your dial indicator on there, put your mag base on something solid. In this case, I'm gonna use the axle tube itself and zero it out. If I push in, get rid of the slop, pushing in, we're zeroed. Okay, you want between 13 and 23 thousandths. So then if I pull on the axle, that'll tell you your end play. So we are at jeepers. We're at 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 5 thousandths. So I have to tighten that up. So if I go over to the other side, right in here, this castle looking thing, that's the adjuster. So that's just a screw. So you're gonna tighten that up. That'll tighten up the preload on the bearings, in turn tightening up the axle slab. All right, well, I can't show that on camera. I will show the end result once I get there. So right now we're just gonna turn this collar. I'll grab a screwdriver and just lightly tap it. Mine's nice and free, so we'll just lightly tap that, spinning it, checking it on the dial indicator as I go, until I get to 13 to 23 thousandths. All right, we're back. Got that adjuster over on the passenger side adjusted. Now, what you guys didn't see is I gave that a good thwap with the dead blow. Give it a good thwap to seat the bearings, and then you test it. Just kept doing that. Right now, we are at 17 thousandths. So perfect, right in the middle. Not too tight, not too loose. I like it. Now, we can get back to this. I did move this bracket over, so now, of course, it's all marred up now because I had already tightened it down, but instead of pre-fitting things like I should. But I'm all the way on the adjuster, so I'm at the 20-degree tilt down, and as you can see, the holes for the caliper bracket are now accessible, not in the way of the springs at all. So I'll get you guys set back up and get the rotor put back on, and we'll test fit that caliper again. All right, got our caliper, got the bolt. Try to get this set back up on you again. Parking brake. Parking brake will go up high and face towards the front. You still have to grease the pin. We're just test fitting to see if everything is where it needs to be. Where is the hole? Right there. I have a socket. It's easier for me to grab onto. Other bolt. Yeah, that clears that much muy better. Yeah. Oh, if I was a ratchet. Clean up the shop.
Just a little tighten down, and that'll tell us if that spacer that's up there is good and centered so that the pads aren't binding or draining too bad on it. Yeah, obviously it has to be bled and everything, but where are we dragging? Is that this one? Holy smokes. Pad's kind of tight. We got a gap in there. I'll get you guys in there so you can see. Okay. See, outer pad is tight. Inner pad's got quite a gap in there. So, I have to figure out what I have to do with those, god dang it, with those spacers. If I have to get wider or shorter, I have to take a look at it. Okay, I lied right to your guys' faces. So, they're, the pad's actually really good. It just, yeah. So what I ended up doing, I just when I was looking at it, I went like this, and it kind of pulled over a little bit. The directions just literally say, if the outer pad is binding, you need a thinner shim. If the inner pad is binding, then you need thinner spacers up here. So, here and here. But, yeah, it's perfect. We got no binding. So next, I need to take these back out. I'll put some synthetic caliper grease on those, put them back in, torque them 25, 30 foot-pounds, and then well, I would say the park and brake is next, but I should probably do the other side, and then we'll do the park and brakes. So, yeah, I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side, and then when it comes time to do the park and brake, I'll fire you guys back up again.
So listen, you know, getting new things is fun, and it's exciting, and retrofitting is pretty cool. I don't mind it. What I do mind is spending big money on kits that you believe are gonna work for the vehicle that you order them for. Okay, let's just start with a little bit of the annoyance. I bought this goddamn kit for the 66 Dodge Coronet with the 8 3/4 rear end. We have had to modify the holes in the freaking disc. Okay, fine. That's fine. We've had to, what else? Oh, the studs. The studs were ridiculous. We replaced the studs with those freaking bolts that we had to grind the goddamn heads on that they don't even mention anything about. That's a little insane to me. But anyway, next on the list, the park brake cables. So they give you all those positions to adjust this to. Yep. So we put it in the standard location. This pin lined up right here. Moved it down. Figured, okay, bolt hole here, bolt hole here. Here's the leaf. Okay, that must be good. Well, guess what, folks? We're going to tear it apart one more time. And this time, we're going to put it not in the standard location, but 20 degrees up. And we're going to hope that this is past this and that the park brake cable will then be long enough to go into the park brake cable holder, dealy-hoo, you know, to do park brake cable things. Kind of pissed me off because I really don't intend, being this is an automatic, on using the park brake cable all that much. But I digress. I will hook it up because it's the right thing to do, and you might as well have it when you pay when you pay the good money for the good stuff. So we might as well try. So let's tear this apart one more time and put it up to the 20 degrees up setting. If only they had tried out their own product on certain vehicles and just said, this is what you need to do for this vehicle. I mean, yeah. Listen, I don't mind it. Honestly, it's not the time to tear it apart and put it back together and everything. I do wish that I would have just test fit everything and made the video, because the video would come out a lot more professional. But this is real life. You guys are seeing real life problems. So it is what it is. But what I do hate is every time I move it, I'm marring the crap out of that plate on the other side. Like, every time those serrated flange nuts freaking clamp down on that, I'm eating off the zinc coating that they put on that bracket and giving it a new spot to freaking rust. And that is a little bit upsetting. It's not the end of the world, but it's a little bit upsetting. Anyway, I digress. Now I'm gonna move that up. Let me see if this side would have worked. I'd have been really pissed if I hooked this side up and then it went, oh yeah, that'll work. Went to the other side and then it didn't. Yeah, see, this side's more than long enough. Yeah, that side would clip right into that little diggly hoo. But this side will not. I don't know if I can get a longer cable section, because I actually do like the brakes aimed down a little bit like that. The pins are nice and easy. They go around the, the leaf spring pack. Real nice. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should look that up, see if I can get a longer Chrysler park brake cable for that or something. I don't know. Might just be a better answer. Let me look that up and I'll get back to you guys. Otherwise, when you see me next, I'll have them move that. Whew, that was a stroke. I'll move that up to the 20 degree mark. Okay, last night found some solutions. Okay, tried to move this up to the plus 20 degrees up or whatever the hell, the next setting, the furthest up setting. And I really didn't like it because the bottom slider bolt, or caliper slide, pin, bolt, mounter, dealy-hoo, was really just pretty level with this upper leaf. And you had to really try to bind it to get the bolt in there. And I ain't saying a guy couldn't have got it to work, but it wasn't that great. And the cable really didn't gain that much. So we're off by a good ways. But after exhausting many options, the Locar kit, or Locar, however you want to say it, Locker, I don't really know. Whatever. Their kit comes with all brand new cables. It's not a direct replacement. Looks like it's hot rod stuff. So it's like cut to fit and make it work and this, that, and the other thing. Anyway, those kits are like 330 bucks. It's a freaking cable. I did find out you do need those cables because this has got a winding piston in it, like a ratcheting piston, and that's what you have to use the e-brake every now and then to adjust the brake pads closer to the rotor. So you do need an e-brake. It's not that we can just leave it off because we have an automatic and we have a parking pin. But anyway, I'm rambling. I put my brain to serious work and ended up finding out that, okay, this cable has a 22-inch long sheath on it. I went to a C-body because I just so happen to have one of those sitting here, thinking maybe since that's a full size, that would be longer. It is almost the exact same. So then I started looking at other options, universals, this, that, and the other thing, and I go, I know that the late 60s Dodge D100s used an 8 3/4 axle. Boom, just like this. I know that the trucks, so the early 60s, like Opel, they had the e-brake on the transmission. Right here, they had a big drum. Pow, 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 pow. But the late 60s, I knew, have a cable operated one, just like this. So I looked it up, and lo and behold, for $14 from the old Rock Auto site, gosh, you never know what you're gonna get, but hopefully that cable will come and it will work. So this is what I'm gonna do. I am going to go onto the fronts and replace those. But in order to increase your video quality, I'm gonna do the driver's side first, off camera, so I look like I maybe might possibly know what I'm doing. So you don't have to learn via all my mistakes on the video. If it was entertaining, I would put it in there, but I just don't think me redoing things 87 times is entertaining. Maybe it is. I don't know. Regardless, we'll get that up there done. Oh, before I do that, I need to get my rear wheels on, drop this down, get it weight bearing, and measure. Pow, 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 and get the drive shaft shop on the new drive shaft. So, yeah, I'll do that right away this morning. All right, a couple days later here, got the other side done. I'm more impressed with the front than I was with the back. I had a lower ball joint that was bad. That's why, Jesus, I really got to focus on talking and looking at the camera. All right, lower ball joint was bad. Had to get that replaced. I didn't want to replace too much stuff because I want to replace all these front end components with, yeah, you'll notice there's no steer box in there right now. I gotta put the steer box in there after I put the header in. But, anyway, kit's pretty nice. This line, I'm not all that impressed with the line. Turned it 800 different ways, and it doesn't have pressure on it, but it does sit oh so gently on the lower control arm. Yeah, I'm probably gonna put an outer protective line on that. Not probably, I'm going to. See how it goes for a little bit here. Otherwise, the guy might have to find a little bit shorter line or something. I don't know, I'm not impressed with that, but yeah, anyway, I'll show you how to do the other side here. Rolls nicely, it's real nice. Real nice. All right, start by taking all this off here. Really? No matter how prepared you try to be, it never ends up that way. Alright. Try to find the cotter key here. Take that off. Well, try extra mangle. That's real good. Oops. Come on, baby. Well, come on now. That needle nose. Extra bit. Whew. Try to clean this all off a little bit. Not make such a freaking mess. Oh. Where's that? Very tight. Oh, that's good. Come on. All right, nuts off. Got the washer next. Can it come off nice? Oh yeah. Ooh, washer and bearing. Bearing's still real nice. That's good. Not that we're using it, but it better chance of the spindle being nicer. So. I want to try to just pop this off. I don't want to mess with the shoes if I don't have to. God, I hate bouncing this thing this hard on this left. Come on, baby. Give it a tap. Shoes are stuck in a groove. Oh, it's gonna make me back them off. Got lucky on all the other ones. Oh yeah, spin and twist. There we go. All right. Try the self-adjuster up here. You guys see? I don't know if I can get you over with. Definitely won't see if I break the dang phone. Kind of move the self-adjuster up like this. Take the self-adjusting cable off. That'll free up that bolt head. Now, we're just going to leave all this assembled and I'll pack it away in the racking just like that. Not that any of it's any good, but it's always nice. God dang, it's gone. Like, they drove this thing till they couldn't drive her no more. It's awesome. But, anyway, we're going to take the backing plate off here. It's really not an overly great way that I found of doing it. When you take the bottom bolts out, it's going to separate the lower ball joint bracket off the spindle bracket. Kind of stinks, especially when you got it up on the lift like this. You got to put a jack or something underneath there and try to collapse it back in order to get them lined up again. But next I'll take this line off here. Oh yeah. There you go. It's time for you to come on. Jeez. Suppose before I get that clip all the way off here, where did my flare wrench go? In my pocket? It would just not. Go there. Cross my fingers that this has been soaked for a couple days and that the line comes loose. Oh yeah. Usually I heat that but this car is just so great. Can you see that? Yeah, so usually I heat that up a little bit before I take that off, especially if I'm replacing that rubber line. But didn't have to. I just had it soaking for a couple days here, and I'm gonna drop that right on the ground. Spray this again so that I can start it on the new line by hand after I get it off here. Come on now. I would appreciate it if you would just come right off. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, now I'll finish taking that clip off there. Come on. Come on, baby. Oh, man. Please? Please. Please. All right, I gotta put you guys down so I can use more than one hand. All right, get you up in there. That came off just fine and dandy once I was able to use two hands. Get you set back up and stand here. Okay, made that seem way worse than it was. I would never have done that if I was reusing that bolt. Yeah. See what it does to the bolt? All right, upper bolts. In retrospect, I should have done the uppers before I did the lowers, but I'm sure y'all were yelling at me about that. Come on. crack loose. This cart's certainly in my way. Washing. Come on, baby. Bolt's not sliding through. Come on. Come on. Thank you. All right, clean up your spindle real good. Make sure that your bearing surfaces are good. Not that your spindle's all tore up. You have other problems then. Looks real nice. Oh. A little bit of scotch right there, we'll see. Clean up that clearance surface a little bit. Okay. I'm gonna test fit bearings on there. I already packed those. Oh yeah. It's nice. Okay, do the outer. It's nice. Okay. All right, there's a spacer that goes on there next. You can see that taper that's in there. That goes towards the car. Just make sure that seat's nice and flush up against that machine surface, which it is. Okay, now I need to install the seal. I need to install the seal and the inner bearing into the hub. So I'll bring you guys over there. Okay. Inner bearing goes in first. Make sure this is nice and clean, which it is. They already have the race installed in there. Kind of nice. Now the seal. The metal lip is obviously gonna sit against here. Main seal lip goes down. It's a double-sided seal, but there it is. Already greased the seal also. Put a film of grease on that. All right, this is ready to get put on the car now. So we're gonna put it up there and then we'll put the outer bearing on. Actually, I wanted to show you guys this. So, clean up the old one here. So the washer that they supplied, the retaining washer, this goes on the outside of the hub. Tighten your nut against it, and then you put your cotter key through that. But this, it's too round for that cap. So when that cap sat on there, cap couldn't go in all the way because it would walk itself off, because there's like no frickin' tolerance at all. At least on the other one there wasn't. Here there's a little bit, but anyway, what I ended up doing was grinding that a little bit, but I'm actually just wondering, should a guy, yeah, see, this one's clearanced a little bit already. I think a guy is going to reuse the old washer, because that has more than enough clearance in that grease cap. So, yeah, we'll try it. But next we'll put this on there and then I'll show you guys how to preload the bearings and torque it to their specs. Holy smokes, getting ahead of myself here. Grab the blue Loctite here and show you guys what we're doing. All right, got to put the caliper bracket on there first before a guy gets too carried away. So directions don't say to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Okay, put a little blue Loctite in there. Caliper is on the front side here, so you want the mount to face forward like that. Okay, just like that. They got supplied hardware. 7/16 bolt there. Another one over here. God, it's gonna be so much nicer. Probably my one gripe I have with Delilah. You know, when everything's brand new, drum brakes work fine, but they just aren't disc. You know, that's why they went to disc. But yeah, it's not even that they, you know, my dad used to complain that you always had to adjust them and stuff, and I don't know that that's it, but I also don't use Delilah like it's a daily driver or anything like that. What it is the components are so gosh darn expensive now for those drums, which is ridiculous, you know. To just turn the drum is $40 a drum, you know, around here. Yeah, we get all sorts of chattering and everything, brake fade in traffic. It's just gosh, this is gonna be so much nicer. Come on, baby. Other side slid right together. What's your deal? You look like you're lined up. Just a little love tap. Don't want to mess those threads up. Okay. There's a lock washer, but I'm going to put thread lock on there anyway. Lock washer first, nut. Okay. Now that that one's in there, we're gonna move this. Gonna move it under the steering here. Mess up that greaser. On this one, kind of uses leverage off that first one you put in. Typically it goes in pretty nice. And for this, you're gonna reuse the one bolt that we didn't mess up. What's your deal? Again, little love tap. Not started on there. This one's a castle nut, so this one really doesn't need the Loctite, but just make it extra hard for me next time. Okay, tighten this back up. We're gonna torque that. This one goes to 125 foot-pounds. Sorry, PMBKs can't hear me. Torque that one to 125 foot-pounds. Right there. And let's see if our castle nut lines up. Actually, it does really nicely. I think this one changes out. Same deal. Yeah, it'd be nice if that steering sector was up top. Waiting for a coupler to come back for that, so. Okay, just turn that. There we go. Okay, 50 on the top ones. Loosen this back up. Actually, set it to 24. For the next thing. Okay. 50. It's 45 to 50 is what this is supposed to be. I gotta quit doing that. Turn it that far. Okay. All right, now. Stop. Now we're ready to put the assembly on there. It's gonna go over that spacer we split on there.
to feel that seal go over that. Oh. Outer bearing. Washer goes in the keyway. Oh. Yeah, that one's got more than enough clearance around it. New nut. The other new nut went on the same exact way. Just not hard, but not easy. Same exact way. Oh, where's my adapter? Get a little snug. Okay. Gonna do this in a couple steps. Step one being, we're going to spin it and torque it to 24 foot-pounds while we're spinning it. Okay. It's preload is what they call that. Okay. Then you're gonna back it off half a revolution. Okay. Then we're going to put it at 10 to 15 foot-pounds. But you got to make sure that your cotter key lines up. So, okay, so that's 15. Spins nice. Let's see where we're sitting. You gotta back it off just a little bit because you don't want to go tighter. Yep. Right there. Okay. Put the new cotter pin that's 8 miles long in there. Okay, bend that over and then I'm gonna actually snip it off. So you don't want that cap. You don't want that cap beating on it or anything. Or grinding on it, I'm sorry. Thinking and talking at the same time doesn't work all the time. Okay, then I'm just gonna grab my side cutters, snip that a little shorter, so I know it won't hit the cover. Just give that a little bit more of a low tap, so it's extra hard to get off the next time. All right, dust cap. Get started here. This is the socket I was using. Yep. Be nice if you could go on there further.
Dead blow's not good. Okay. It's on there, nice and even. Okay, we'll shoot that off a little bit, get it a little cleaner, and then I'll grab the caliper and mount that up on the bracket. Get you guys on the back side there. All right, bleeder goes towards the top. There's 2 spacers you got to get in there. Spacer goes between the caliper and the bracket. I put the bolt in there first, put that through, and then get one bolt started, typically the top one. Okay, now the bottom. Okay, torque that to 50, and then we gotta see if it's centered. All right. Spin that a little bit. Make sure the pads are set all the way in. It is just like the other side. So it's offset this way just a hair. 32nd of an inch maybe, something like that. It's not much. So they give you shims, but what's funny is they give you shims to bring, they give you smaller shims to add in there that'll bring the caliper this way. Well, I'm just a little bit too far that way. We're gonna see what happens, see how it clamps. Yeah, go from there. Altogether pretty darn nice though. Lastly is the line. And yeah, we'll call this good. New line here. Make sure you get your new crush washer installed on there before you screw it into the caliper. See if I can maybe get you guys set up. Crush washer on there. Can't do this without staying out of your guys' way, so I'll try to just put it short here. Screw that up in there. And 9/16 flare wrench. Now, this goes all up in here. This side might stay off there a little better than the other side then. Maybe not. If it moves that way. I wonder if a guy can bend that tab a little bit after he gets it mounted on there. All right, they send their retaining clips with And I was not impressed. Well, let me try this side. Let me try. Golly, they're so bent. Like, the space up there is, look at how huge that is. It's huge. It's huge. Put the stock one back in there. Okay, got it started. Give it a little love tap. You guys see anything? Yeah, kinda. Well, believe it or not, that actually went on way easier than theirs did. Get it started here, and then I'll have to hold that line from twisting all up, but for now, this will work. Actually, use a regular wrench. Definitely use a flare wrench on that when you go to tighten it or when you're cracking them loose. But when you're just in the middle here, when it's just kind of free spinning, there's no reason. Okay, turn this line where you like it before you get this done. Anyways. See, it doesn't really, it just doesn't want to get out there. Might grab a, I don't know, maybe I'll play with it. All right, I'm gonna play with that off camera here a little bit. I'm gonna try tweaking that bracket a little bit and see if I can get that, because both sides sit on that lower control arm down there. And like I said, I can definitely put a short chunk. Oh, actually, yeah. So these are the ones for the back lines I haven't put on yet, back calipers. But see how they have this chunk of rubber on here? Keep it from chafing, rubbing. That's exactly what I would be doing to here. But if I can just tweak that bracket just a little bit without disturbing that steel line too bad and get that to float in there a little bit better, I think I would. You know, if that line was just a smidgen shorter, this thing doesn't really turn that far. It's really close to the pivot point, but anyway, I won't know that until I get that steer box hooked back up, but I think, yeah, let me mess with that and then I'll close the video out. All right, I tweaked that bracket up just a smidgen here. It didn't really seem to affect the steel line at all. And it is floating over here. So I'll do the same thing to the other side. See if I get that off. But I'm still gonna put an extra protective piece of hosing over this. Just as a precaution. I mean, brakes aren't, they're designed to keep you from crashing into things. I'd be real pissed if I wore through that and crashed into something over some negligence just covering that up. But yeah, Well, there you have it. Let's take a look. That's the lead disc brake conversion kit. And yeah, looks nice. We aren't gonna do the power booster or the master cylinder yet. We will save that for a little bit here. I want to put the steering column and the coupler back in there, and then I'll worry about the power booster. I just don't want that stuff to be in the way. It'll be easier to do it then. But yeah, this will get us a little bit closer. Hopefully they'll be calling with the drive shaft soon. He told me only a day or two for the drive shaft. That was pretty crazy. I'll get you guys the name of that place. Pretty good guys. We'll see how it turns out. But price was pretty decent too. A little less than about $100 less than I was guessing it would be. But yeah, we'll get this cleaned up one more time here and get the wheel back on. Remember, we are Mopoor. Get out there and work on your rides. 15 minutes. Just spend a little bit of time. That thing sitting there collecting dust ain't doing nobody good. Just get out there, work on it a little bit. Let's see those rides. Let's see them back on the road. Have a good one. All right, guys. Figured I'd give you an update here before I close this video out. So we got the brake lines in on the rear. The cable for the truck did work out good. So on that left side park and brake cable, wow, I ended up snapping the adjuster on the old one, welding a new one on, so I didn't buy a new cable there. But anyway, yeah, floor pan replacement came in for that section also. But anyway, I ended up getting a cable for a 69 to 71 Dodge D100, because they also have the same 8 3/4 axle. The passenger side line was good enough. Long enough for it. So yeah, drive shaft, as you can see, also in. Oh man, I gotta give a shout out to these guys. Look at this. So Minnesota Driveline, there's their information. These guys did this drive shaft brand new, fully loaded, balanced, everything, 2 days. Less than $600, $580. I cannot complain. It's probably one of the things about doing this build so far that I was actually happy with. So yeah, super awesome. Brakes are hooked up. Front brakes are done. Just got to get that steering coupler came in, so I got to get that, finish getting that installed, put the steering shaft back in, and then a guy will put on that master, the new booster and master up there. So yeah, things are coming together. Get out there, work on your rides. Let's keep these old Mopoors on the road. Keep all the old cars on the road. Try, if we don't keep this hobby alive, nobody will. So get out there, work on your stuff. Remember, we are Mopoor. Have a good one.